Hi everybody, this is Jamie with Everything Airplanes. Once again, I'm here with Glenn Larsen, the owner of this 1938 Ryan SCW. Glenn, pleasure. I'm so glad that you brought this out. I know there's not a lot of these around. Could you give us a little history of your ownership and maybe of the airplane type if you have it, and we'll go from there.
Well, it actually started out as my father's airplane. He had a Howard airplane, Howard DGA, and he traded it for this and some money in about the early 50s. And so I was just a little kid, and he rebuilt it in our basement, in the basement of our house. And a lot of times I was the only one small enough to get in the back of the tail and huck rivets for him.
Sure.
Anyway, and then in 1960 we put it together and started flying it ever since.
Okay, you mentioned there aren't very many of these flying, but hey, give us a second here. I don't want to get drowned out. You mentioned that there aren't very many of these around. And you said there was only, what, a dozen of these made?
Yep, 12 done originally, and then they made a 13 out of parts that they had laying around later on. But yeah, there's one at the EAA museum,
right,
which is a very nice one. There's this one, which is pretty much stock, and then Russell Williams has one that's very nice, and then Dirk Leeward has one that's about ready to fly, and there's some laying around, but they're not flyable, and quite a bit to get them to fly.
Okay. Any what's the engine that we got here?
Same as the 165 Cessna, 165 Warner.
Warner. Okay. And flying characteristics?
Beautiful. Yeah. A fellow by the name of D. Bernard back in the 60s used to do a aerobatic act with it.
Really?
And there was a certain thing that kind of looked like a lumpshavak, but that only this airplane could do.
Really?
It was pretty special.
And it's two-seater, four-seater?
It's big enough for four, but it's
comfortable too.
Rated for three.
Three. Okay. Okay. You did a wonderful job. How long does it take you to clean it up and keep it polished?
Well, I hadn't polished it since last year, and it only took about 2 or 3 hours.
Okay, it still looks really good. I'm so excited that you brought the airplane out. One of a very rare opportunity to see this out on the flight line. Someday I hope to get a ride with you, but again, I just appreciate your time, and I'm sure my viewers will appreciate the fact that you take the time, and I appreciate all the effort you use to keep something like this flying. It's just awesome. I appreciate your time.
Well, you're welcome. Glad to do it.
Thanks, Glenn.